안녕하세요. 울랄라 김희숙입니다. 출근하자마자 하루 10분 영어 독서 실천하고 있는데요. 네, 오늘은 Prove Me Wrong 15페이지부터 읽도록 하겠습니다. World Economic Forum, 다보스 포럼에서 했네요. 2019년도에. Some people say that we are not doing enough to fight climate change, but that is not true. Because to not do enough, you have to do something. And the truth is, we are basically not doing anything. Yes, some people are doing enough, doing more than they can, but they are too few or too far away from power to make a difference today. Some people say that the climate crisis is something that we all have created. But there is just another convenient lie. Because if everyone is guilty, when no one is to blame, and someone is to blame, some people, some companies, and some decision makers in particular have known exactly what priceless values they are sacrificing to continue making unimaginable amounts of money. I want to challenge those companies and those decision makers into real and bold climate action to set their economic goals aside and safeguard the future living conditions for humankind. I don't believe for 1 second that you will rise to that challenge, but I want to ask you all the time. I ask you to prove me wrong for the sake of your people, for the sake of your grandchildren, for the sake of life and this beautiful living planet. I want you to stand on the right side of history. I want you to pledge to do everything in your power to push your own business or government in line with 1.5 Celsius degree world. Will you pledge to do that? Will you pledge to join me, the people all around the world, in doing whatever it takes? Our house is on fire. World Economic Forum, Davos, January 25th, 2019. Our house is on fire. Our house is on fire. I'm here to say our house is on fire. According to IPCC, we are less than 12 years away from not being able to undo our mistakes. In the time, unprecedented changes in all aspects of society need to have taken place, including a reduction of our CO2 emissions by at least 50%. And please note that those numbers do not include the aspect of inquiry, which is absolutely unnecessary to make the Paris Agreement work on a global scale. Nor does it include tipping points or feedback loops like the extremely powerful methane gas released from the thawing Arctic permafrost. At places like Davos, people like to tell success stories, but their financial success has come with an unthinkable price tag. And on the climate change, we have to acknowledge that we have failed. All political movements in their present forum have done so, and the media has failed to create broad public awareness. But Homo sapiens have not yet failed. Yes, we are failing, but there is still time to turn everything around. We can still fix this. We still have everything in our own hands. But unless we recognize the overall failures of our current systems, we most probably don't stand a chance. We are facing a disaster of unspoken sufferings for enormous amount of people. And now is not the time for speaking politely or focusing on what we can or cannot say. Now is the time to speak clearly. Solving the climate crisis is the greatest and the most perplexing challenge that Homo sapiens have ever faced. The main solution, however, is so simple that even a small child can understand it. We have to stop our emissions of greenhouse gases, and either we do not do that or don't. You say that nothing in life is black or white, but That is a lie, a dangerous lie. Either we prevent a 1.5 Celsius degree of warming or we don't. Either we avoid setting off the irreversible chain reaction beyond human control or we don't. Either we choose to go on a civilization or we don't. That is as black or white as it gets. There are no gray areas when it comes to survival. Now we all have a choice. We can create transformational action that will safeguard the living conditions for future generations, or we can continue with our business as usual and fail. That is up to you and me. Some say that we should not engage in activism. Instead, we should leave everything to our politicians and just vote for a change instead. But what do we do when there is no political will? What do we do when the politics needed are nowhere in sight? Here in Davos, just like everywhere else, everyone is talking about money. It seems that money and growth are our only main concerns. And since the climate crisis is a crisis that never once has been treated as crisis, people are simply not aware of full consequences from our everyday life. People are not aware that there is such a thing as a carbon budget and just how incredibly small that remaining carbon budget is, and it needs to change today. No other current challenge can match the importance of establishing a worldwide public awareness and understanding of our rapidly disappearing carbon budget. That should and must become our new global currency and the very heart of our future and present economics. We are now at a time in history where everyone with the insight of the climate crisis that threatens our civilization and the entire biosphere and must speak out in clear language, no matter how uncomfortable and unprofitable they may be. We must change almost everything in our current societies. The bigger your carbon footprint, the bigger your moral duty. The bigger your platform, the bigger your responsibility. Others keep saying we owe it to the young people to give them hope. But I don't want your hope. I don't want you to be hopeful. I want you to panic. I want you to feel the fear I feel every day. And then I want you to act. I want you to act as you would in a crisis. I want you to act as if our house is on fire, because it is. I'm too young to do this. Recently, I have seen Stockholm, February 2nd, 2019. Recently, I have seen many rumors circulating about me and enormous amount of hate. This is no surprise to me. I know that since most people are not aware of full meaning of the climate crisis, which is understandable since it has never been treated as a crisis. A school strike for the climate would seem very strange to people in general. So let me make some things clear about our school strike. In May 2018, I was one of the winners in writing competition about the environment held by Svenska Dagbladet, a Swedish newspaper. I got my article published and some people contacted me. Among others was Botheren from Fossil Fuel Island. He had some of the group with people, especially youth, who wanted to do something about the climate crisis. I had a few phone meetings with their other activists. The purpose was to come up with ideas of new projects that would bring attention to the climate change crisis. Crisis. Bo had a few ideas of things we could do, everything from marches to a loose idea of some kind of school strike that school children would do something on the schoolyards or in the classrooms. That idea was inspired by Parkland students who had refused to go to school after the school shootings. I liked the idea of school strike, so I developed that idea and tried to get the other young people to join me, but no one was really interested. They thought a Swedish version of the 0 hour march was going to have a bigger impact. So I went on planning the school strike all by myself. And after that, I didn't participate in any other meetings. When I told my parents about my plans, they weren't very fond of it. They did support the idea of school striking, and they said, if I were to do this, I would have to do it completely by myself and with no support from them. On the 20th of August, I sat down outside the Swedish Parliament. I handed out flyers with a long list of facts about the climate crisis and explanations on why I was striking. The first thing I did was to post on Twitter and Instagram what I was doing, and it soon went viral. Then journalists, the newspapers started to come. As a Swedish entrepreneur and businessman active in the climate movement, Ingmar Lesanhorg was among the first to arrive. He spoke with me and took pictures that he posted on Facebook. That was the first time I had ever met or spoke with them. I had not communicated or encountered with them ever before. Many people love to spread rumors that saying that I have people behind me or I am being paid or used to do what I am doing. But there is no one behind me except for myself. My parents were so far from climate crisis activists as possible before I made them aware of the situation. I am not part of the organization, sometimes support and cooperate with several NGOs that work with the climate and environment. But I am absolutely inadequate and I only represent myself. And I do what I do completely for free. I have not received any money or any promises of future payment in any form at all, and nor have anyone linked to me or my family done so. 오늘은 26페이지까지 읽도록 하겠습니다.